What's up, everybody? It's me, E-Man from E-Man's Movie Reviews, and today we're going to review Thor Love and Thunder. All right, let's jump into a quick intro. Thor is embarking on the path of self discovery, but that quickly gets interrupted when reports of gods being killed by a villain named Gorr. Thor has to team up with his friends to stop this God Butcher before it's too late. Okay, enough of that. Let's get on to the good.
The good.
As you can tell with the trailers and all of that, Thor Love and Thunder is definitely bringing the laughs with a lot of comedy. There's no mistaking that this is director Taika Waititi's movie with his unique style and comedic approach all over this film. There were plenty of laughs to be had from beginning to end. Thor's character is perfectly placed in his lane of comedy, but Waititi managed to bring on the fun with other characters as well. Probably the most amusing moments were owned by the Space Goats and Thor's hammers. Now, when it came to the acting performances, Chris Hemsworth was definitely at the top of his game with this more lighthearted version of Thor. Hemsworth seemed really comfortable and natural in his delivery as Thor. I appreciated his ability to shift his performance during the more dramatic moments in the story. I think that's when Hemsworth was at his best because he was able to draw out a good measure of empathy for me as I was watching him. Now, Natalie Portman was probably one of the brightest lights in the film as Mighty Thor. Given her character's circumstances, Portman's delivery had me internally cheering for her at every turn. She made Jane Foster the most balanced character in the movie. She also had some of the most memorable moments as Mighty Thor. The way she wielded Mjolnir was probably the best that we've ever seen to date in a Thor movie. Now, two of the strongest elements that are working in favor for Thor Love and Thunder were probably the visuals and the action. The cinematography was nicely executed and elevated many of the fight scenes. Although I do think the slow motion leap, from the movie 300, might have been a little overused one too many times. Regardless, the fight scenes were a joy to watch thanks to the incredibly vivid colors. Similar to the likes of a movie, I don't know, like Sin City, the monochrome settings splashed with bright colors during some of the battles were absolutely stunning. Now, as the title suggests, the theme of love is captured in a comprehensive and effective manner in Thor Love and Thunder. It's probably one of the loudest and strongest messages communicated by the film, and it certainly hits home in a number of different ways. Taika Waititi brilliantly carved out a way for the theme to find a common thread in the stories of each of the main characters in order to tell a much grander story. For instance, it was fascinating to see how love played an essential role between Thor and Jane, and then contrast that with how love played a role in Gore's story. All right, enough of that. Let's get on to the bad.
The bad.
Unfortunately, as funny as Taika Waititi can be, he did not know when to take his foot off the pedal when it came to the comedy in this movie. Simply put, it was just way too silly when it didn't have to be. A number of scenes felt better suited to be extra bonus footage for an at home release or something. Jokes that were genuinely funny, like the Space Goats, started to get less funny as they were continuously revisited. Not only that, but there were moments when the comedy felt like it robbed viewers of having enough time to actually feel the depth of the dire moments in the story. I guess you can kind of think of it as if you heard really bad news, or let's just say you learned of like a really terrible threat, before you can really feel the weight of that, a joke is quickly thrown in there and you just disrupt all the tension that was built up. Now, to be fair, I will say that in the third act, they do kind of tone down the jokes. And I thought that was actually really good to do because it actually allowed us to feel some more of the, I don't know, heartfelt scenes to like actually flourish. But what I also didn't like with the comedy was like the structure of it in terms of how it also made other characters just as goofy as Thor. Now, with Thor tapping more into his funny side, it absolutely works well when he is acting funny next to other serious characters. For example, his interaction with Star Lord is hilarious because while Quill is playing the more straight man role, Thor is being more of the funny role. Now, that dynamic was entertaining because it allowed Thor's humor to be showcased and be the general focus. However, in this movie, a character, let's say like Zeus, taking over as another comical character just didn't work for me. Russell Crowe's weird accent for Zeus and his other antics just kind of felt off putting. This was also the case with the character of Gorr, played by Christian Bale. I was really surprised to see his transition from being a truly terrifying and creepy villain to practically being another version of the evil clown from It, Pennywise. It just seemed like the actor was having more fun on set than focusing on making the characters work. And speaking of gore, this had to have been probably my biggest disappointment of the film. Now, outside of Christian Bale's acting like a wannabe Freddy Krueger at times, Bale did a fantastic job in his performance. The problem was more so in the writing of his character. Gore was completely nerfed as a villain. I was not a fan of how Waititi robbed his beliefs of having more weight and substance. Even his suffering was regulated to just a few minutes and a couple of jokes to start off the film. Now, it's not hard to understand Gore's motivations. We get it. That's not the issue. I just think that the pacing of the introduction deprived us of truly connecting with Gore's suffering. His actions as a villain were also negligible to a degree because we never really felt a sense of urgency. I mean, at no point in time did I feel afraid for Thor or that he was going to be in a real sense of danger. Plus, I rarely felt as though Gore elevated Thor's character in a meaningful way. Thor didn't learn anything from Gore that he couldn't have just learned on his own or from some other character. I mean, honestly, Gore just felt like a second tier villain, and that's messed up. But anyway, let's get on to the reason.
The reason.
Thor Love and Thunder packs a lot of heart, exciting visuals, quality acting, some good action, but takes the whole Marvel fun thing way too far. The movie just kept getting in its own way with all the jokes. It was sad to see a villain with Gore's potential from the comics and Christian Bale's great acting ability both be minimized. Now, for me, I will not say that this movie was any better than Thor Ragnarok. I have it a little bit lower than that. I would say that Thor Ragnarok probably was about 50-50 when it came to comedy meets the drama, but Thor Love and Thunder is kind of like 70% comedy and 30% drama. So when it comes to the rating for Thor Love and Thunder, I've got to give it a 7 out of 10. Now, let me just say this. Of course, comedy is very subjective. What's funny to me might not be funny to you. And what's funny to you might not be funny to me. And that's okay. And that is one of the main reasons why I tell you all the time, go make up your own mind. And I would also say, watch the trailer. If the trailer style of comedy is something that you think you will like, then this movie is going to be for you. If you didn't like the comedy in the trailer, you might not like it in the movie because, well, there's a whole lot more of it coming. And by the way, let me also just mention I'm critiquing comedy, okay, in a movie because I'm a film critic. It does not mean I hate comedy. This movie did have me laugh at a good amount of things, but that does not mean that it had free license to just do whatever it wants from a comedic stance, okay? So I don't want all the E-Man hates comedy comments. Stop that. That's whack. Either way, I would recommend that you still go check out Thor Love and Thunder in theaters. I still think it'll be entertaining to watch. I would recommend that you go in with extremely low expectations in order to maximize your viewing experience. The lower your expectations, well, it's even harder to disappoint, right? So make sure you go check it out. And by the way, there are 2 post-credit scenes that you'll want to watch at the end. So, do you plan on watching Thor Love and Thunder? If and when you do, come on back to this video and let me know what you think about it. Anyway, that's all the time I got for today. Thank you so much for taking the time and watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you're new here and you like what you see, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss out the next time I drop a video. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.